Okay folks, here we go again. Well, I'm a busy bloke this week. Was that 3 videos in a few days? Actually, I'm just trying to take advantage of it being a fine day so I can get some decent light on the subject. Right, it's been a while since I did pick up science fiction books, so I thought I would regale you all with the stuff I picked up in December. Not been a lot of stuff online actually, so a lot of this stuff is either Christmas presents or charity shop stuff actually, which is always a good source if you've got a few shops in your area. Anyway, we'll crack on with it because I've got quite a few to show you. I'll just get these out of the way first. These were the ones I showed you in the Christmas video that were bought for me. These were the door books that I collect. That's an early one, number 11. That's another early-ish one, number 27. These early ones are the ones that I'm trying to pick up because they're usually the most expensive. That was one I got, but unfortunately it's a later printing and it doesn't have the number up there, so it's not good. It's no good for me as regards the collection. And then there was the 2 masterworks. Let's say these are from the 2 for £7 section in HMV, which I asked for. Philip K. Dick's Valis and Philip K. Dick's A Maze of Death. Surprised I didn't have that one actually, but there you go. So that's the stuff I've already showed you. Now we'll get down to the rest of the stuff. Right, I bought a little pile off a chap. I think there was about 9 in total, but £5, a couple of quid postage. So I mean, actually worked out less than a quid each, which you can't complain about. Right, we have Case and the Dreamer by Theodore Sturgeon. Not one of his more well-known books, but the stuff I bought from him are all in pretty good nick. This particular one is let's have a look. I'd say it's a collection of stories. I hadn't realised that. And it seems to be the first printing, so yeah, it was Case and the Dreamer. Right, here's a book I used to have, the American edition, but there's not many Bradbury collections I don't have now, or science fiction ones anyway, and that's the Machineries of Joy, which again is a book of short stories. I'm not familiar with any of them because I haven't read this particular volume. Again, that's the first printing by Granada Books from 1967. Did I get that right? No, sorry, 1977. I was only 10 years out. I thought it didn't look like a 67 book. Right, and here's an author I've not really heard of, Robert L. Forward, Flight the Dragonfly. No, not familiar again. It's just got a bit of a cracked spine there, but apart from that, is not in bad condition. This is a New English Library, and it's the first printing from May 1985. So that's a lot later. That's creeping towards the contemporary era. Right, here's an author that I've got plenty of his books. Never heard of this one, Survival Kit. Once again, it's in very nice condition. It looks as if it's unread, actually. I mean, I know there's a chap on YouTube called The Outlaw Bookseller. Very, very great site it is for information. If you're interested in, I think I mentioned it before, if you're interested in in publishers and books and collections. I mean, this guy's knowledge is unbelievable. But he only collects mint or near mint books, you know, books that are in good shape. Whereas it's nice to have a book like this that's in good shape. But I buy bundles and job lots online. You know, a lot of them are fairly worn, but for me, it's that's what I'm really looking for. I mean, I would prefer them in mint condition, but you never get them that way. But I don't mind the wear and tear, because I used to, when I lived in London, I used to frequent a lot of bookshops. I mean, any of you of an age who lived in London will remember Plus Books and Popular Books. And it was just a dingy old shop with wooden floors, book racks, and they sold all the genres, and I used to buy all my science fiction there. And all of these, as I say, were not in the greatest condition. And that's how I remember them, so, you know, I really don't mind. Anyway, back to, sorry about that little trip down nostalgia lane. Yeah, Survival Kit by Frederick Pohl. Again, now this seems to be a novel, and it is from 1975, and there again it looks like a first printing. Okay, move on. These are all from the same stuff I bought for less than £1 each. Wild Talent by Wilson Tucker. I've got this book of his, The Lincoln Hunter. It's quite a well-known book, well thought of. Again, you know, it's in lovely nick, apart from that little dink at the top there, but that's nothing. Where am I? Over here. Yeah, Wild Talent. This is this again is a novel, and it's first coronet printing from 1980. Although it was written a lot earlier than that. Again, we have our good friend Frederick Pohl here. It's again very nice condition. It's a Corgi edition, very nice cover. That I like that one. That's cool. And that will be, yeah, again it's a first paperback printing from, what was it? I've forgotten already, 83. So these are not exactly vintage, but not many of the books in this particular video are. Right, Next of Kin by Eric Frank Russell. It's a book I've certainly heard of. SF classic. Here again, not in bad condition apart from a little bit of scraping there. Yeah, I wasn't aware of these Sphere classics, so some I'll have to look out for, because I like collecting anything that's numbered. And that is a first Sphere Books edition from 73, so that's a bit more vintage. And then finally from that little lot, Andrew Stevenson, The Wall of Years. I think this will be a bit more contemporary. This is an Orbit book again. You know, it's a second. You know, you can always tell Remainder books by the little chip out the top, the little piece out the top there, but it doesn't affect the book in any way. And that is a first Orbit printing from 1979. So as I say, nothing too vintage amongst that lot, but an interesting little selection for the price nevertheless. Right, I'll show you a few that I bought from charity shops next. It might be a strange one for me to buy as a science fiction collector, because I wouldn't call this science fiction actually, but it is fantasy, so there's all the fantasy tropes. So, but the reason I bought this is because it won the Hugo one year for science fiction, strangely enough. So I thought I would get a nice condition copy. This is the adult version. As you can see there, it was just £1. So yeah, could buy that one. Nice condition copy of that. There's here's a nice one. I've never heard of this. I've heard of Jack Williamson, of course, but never heard of Darker Than You Think. It's in his lovely fantasy masterwork series. I showed you a Jack Vance one a few videos ago. You don't see many of these out in the wild. There's quite a lot of them, as you can see. I mean, that's number 38. But for a quid in absolutely mint condition, I thought that was a very good buy indeed, because I've only seen the two of those. These couple I bought, these are in the Mammoth book. I've got a few of these. This is the Mammoth Book of Apocalyptic SF. Yeah, quite in good condition. That was a couple of quid. That'll be more recent, this one. It's actually a second edition by Robinson. I've never heard of those as publishers, but they're very similar to the other Mammoth books of SF that I have. And then this one was a Mammoth Book of Alternate Histories. Again, it's obviously been read. A bit of a broken spine there, but nothing too bad. Again, that was a couple of quid. I take it it's the same publisher here at Robinson. Nice little books these, if you can pick them up for that sort of price, because there's a heck of a lot of reading in there, you know, as you can imagine. It's 600 pages nearly. And then I bought this one from charity shop. Still haven't taken the price off that one yet. Again, 2 quid. Absolutely mint condition. World Engines Creator. I think there's another one in the series. It's on the back here. Can't see it, it's too small. But yeah, obviously a duology, whatever they're called, 2 books. And again, that was 2 quid, and that's quite a modern one. That's from Gollancz. I would imagine that's from the 2000s somewhere. And then we had a very strange one. This was only a quid. Again, lovely condition. Futuristic violence and fancy suits. Never heard of David Wong, but then again, I've heard of so few of these contemporary authors. But I'm assured that it is science fiction. It is, in fact, marketed as such. A lot of these contemporary books are not even marketed as science fiction. At least there's no mention of science fiction on the covers. And there again is another chap I've never heard of. Simon Mordy, Curve of the Earth. But either this book or one of his books won the Philip K. Dick Award, so can't be that bad. Post-apocalyptic novel again, in lovely condition for a princely price of £1, as opposed to the original price of £9. So, yeah, to say, check out your local charity shops by all means. Right, I'll just move on to this one, because this was another charity shop pick up. I forget how much this one was, but Kim Stanley Robinson, yeah. He's more famous for his Mars books: Blue Mars, Green Mars, Red Mars. There's about 3 of them. A couple of them won Hugo, so I'll have to read them, even though they're about 700 pages each. This one only runs to 470 pages, so that's fairly short compared with his other books. Again, nice condition. It wouldn't have been any more than £2, probably £1 actually. So again, you know, a 9 quid book, which you can't complain about when they're in that sort of condition. Right, these 2 are the ones that I showed you in the last video on Hugo winners. So I bought these online. I forget how much they were, but they weren't as cheap as £1 or £2. I think they were more like 3 or 4 each. with free postage. I bought from one of these big, book dealers. There's a lot of them, a world of books online on eBay. And that was The City in the City by China Mieville, which I covered in the last Hugo. Actually, I'll be interested to read more by him because he's very well thought of normally. Right, there's another couple that I bought from World of Books online. That's an English Ballantine book. Quite a nice cover there. Phoenix by Richard Cooper. I would imagine this is a 1960s vintage. Yeah, first UK printing, 72. Although it came out in the US a couple of years beforehand. I'll just have to have a quick swig here because it doesn't take long for me to lose my voice when I'm doing these, as you can hear. Right, I think that was a freebie, that one. You bought 4 and you paid for 3, so Asimov's End of Eternity, I don't have that particular Asimov. That one is, that's been reprinted many times, 10, 11 times. That's from 89. It's a Grafton book. I like these Grafton books because they're they feel nice, nice and thick covers and nice thick paper. Yeah, so I was pleased to have that one for nothing. If you can hear a noise, it's only my cat moaning at the door because he can't get in. As soon as he caused havoc in my last video. And that's, again, from the same people, with a 4 for 3 offer. Or 3 for 4 offer, is it? Yeah, 3 for 4. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, never mind. That's Orson Scott Card. Planet Called Treason. These are called Pan Lozenge for some reason. This thing up here is called a lozenge, and these are quite collectible by people who are really into their collecting. I've got a few of them in mind, but if I get them, I get them. If I don't, well, not to worry. And that particular one was the first printing, paperback printing from 1981. Right, now these next two cost me a few bob, but I collect the New World's paperbacks, which ran in 1964, I believe it was. From it'd been previously a sort of like a pulp-ish magazine and a digest after that, and then it went to paperback for, I think it was 31 issues, and carried on until it went from number 142 to 172. And these ones I've got here are actually the last 2 issues. That's 171 in reasonable condition. I mean, that was, I think it was about £12.50, that one. But these last 2 are very hard to find at any price, but you can pay up to 20 quid or more, excuse me, for these last 2. Obviously, as the interest in these became less and less, the print run went down, so there are a few of these, and this one incorporated the magazine Impulse, which had already died. So yeah, the paperback ones were on the way out. So these last 2, and this particular one is the last one, which I got actually, I think, about for a tenner, which is a very good price. Again, in not too bad condition. Yeah, this one can cost you an arm and a leg because you don't see it very often. And that was the very last of the New World's paperbacks, so happy to get those. And then last but not least, I picked up a couple of hardbacks. Again, Orson Scott Card, Past Watch Redemption of Christopher Columbus. I only missed out a button there. This is a tour book, which is American in print. I mean, for a hardback, that was quite reasonable. Just a couple of quid from a charity shop. This is it's a novel. Yeah, I thought it was short stories at first. And this is yeah, an American. Doesn't say what printing it is, but I would assume if it's got nothing on, it's a first publication. And then the other one was a couple of quid from Golank's science fiction, Greg Bear Tangents. I think Greg Bear died recently, and you know, a lot of people like his books. You know, I've come across his name quite a bit on my travels around YouTube. It's the only book I've got of his, so again, a couple of quid for a nice hardback. I don't know what, yeah, it looks like looks like a first UK. So for a couple of quid, that's quite good. The last thing I want to show you is a lovely volume I bought online from one of the, I think it was from a private seller, this one, I can't remember. But it's the Science Fiction of the 20th Century by Frank Robinson. As you can see there, it's an illustrated history. You know, it's in, I would say, near mint condition. I can't see any blemishes on it at all. Now this is actually a £50 book. I got it for £5 in mint condition, which, let's move back a bit so you can see it a bit better. Got it for a £5 in absolutely great condition. So that's probably one of my better buys. And what it is history of pulps. Little Planet stories there, love those. And it runs, you know, through the pulp magazines from the 30s, some very early ones later on, you know, from 1930. I hope you can see all right there. It's a big volume, and it's hard to handle from this angle. And then it moves on to later on to paperbacks and what have you. And yeah, I mean, if you're interested in the history of science fiction covers, if you like, of pulp magazines and paperbacks, it's a very good buy. I think you can pick it up online still for a decent price. Whether you'll get one in that condition, I can't guarantee. But yeah, so that was my little haul for the month of December. So again, thank you very much. That's the end of procedures today. Thank you very much for watching, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and I don't know what's coming up next, but probably be a while. So I'm burnt out after these three I've just done. So anyway, once again, thank you very much, and continue to have a happy new year. Bye bye now.